Now, if I'm correct, at some point you moved to New York to study acting under none other than such a luminary as Stella Adler. Did you know who she was before sitting under her teaching?
Absolutely. I knew she was an iconic teacher. And also Uta Hagen and wonderful teachers that taught at HB Studios on Bank Street downtown. Stephen Strimpel, Herbert Bergdorf himself. And there were some wonderful teachers at Stella Adler's school as well. Her, of course, her famous script interpretation class. Yes, I feel very privileged to have learned from these wonderful, wonderful teachers.
Now, what was it like kind of learning under her? I mean, did it feel like a legend or icon was speaking every time she sat to talk to you guys, or after a while, did you guys just go, oh, well, that's just her? You know what I mean? Did it ever become normal?
Yes, you never felt like you knew enough. So she inspired you to go learn more, which is exactly the point. I was a sponge wanting to learn. And I remember taking the subway at the time and doing scenes, Julia, the scene from the movie Julia, where I brought like a coat, a heavy coat and crutches and a box. And I think at some point everything fell out of my hands. And I thought, well, this is where you get to pay your dues. But I had, I was very lucky to study with these teachers and be inspired, just be inspired to go out in the world and contribute something to the conversation.
Do you have maybe a favorite story of Stella, or from one of your time there?
Well, I remember a distinct moment where we all, um, you applauded for her when, and we were not applauding hard enough or, passionately enough. And she said, no, this is not how you do it. This is how you do it. And she was teaching us, how to applaud and respect her.
I think one misconception people outside the industry have involves the idea of acting as a skill. I think a lot of people just imagine it as something innate, like apart from learning the line, there really isn't a lot to practice for it. But obviously that's not the case. I mean, there's obviously a lot of skills that are involved, in acting, right?
Absolutely. There's a craft to learn. And everybody thinks, oh, it's easy, I can do it. Well, yes, but there's a craft to learn. And you have to think of it also as a technician with a toolbox, except I call it the golden box, which is what Sandy Meisner said. And every individual actor has the key to their unique toolbox, where they not only gather tools that help them to interpret a character, break down a script, but also lessons that they learn when they work on set, on stage, and also life lessons. All of that gold goes into that toolbox. And depending on what project you're working on, what character, you pick from there. Recently, as you said, I had the wonderful a wonderful time working with Abigail Breslin, who is, ingrained in our pop culture as Little Miss Sunshine. And of course, she's worked, her whole life. I mean, she's worked, I'm sure, when she came out in diapers. No, I mean, she's like a born actress. It's in her DNA. So, and she played a difficult character in this last movie that I directed, Miranda's Victim. And to watch her go into her toolbox was really great. She never stopped impressing me.
Yeah, I find it kind of interesting that there are so many kind of different schools of, or should I say, methods of acting. I mean, some might even say it's academic in the same way learning music is. And you were talking about and I was going to ask you about the golden box method and how you describe it. And I think you kind of very aptly did. Now, because of that, you've had some truly incredible stars come through your acting classes. I think Henry Cavill, Penelope Cruz, Gerard Butler, Isla Fisher, hundreds more. Obviously,
those actors were private coachings, yes.
Obviously, they're all incredibly talented, but I'm curious if there's anybody that comes to mind that you've either taught or coached that surprised you at just remarkably how insanely talented they are.
I feel very privileged to have worked with a group of incredibly talented actors. For instance, I did work with Chris Rock for a little while, and he is incredibly talented. I just saw his comedy special. He's just, excellent. I worked with a lot of wonderful people, and yes, I'm always blown away not only by their talent, but by something that Stella Adler said that I recognize in many, which is a talent for the talent, which means that not only do you have to have talent, because a lot of people do, but you have to have the desire of the work ethic to nurture the talent. And I think that that's very important.
And I
And that's
think one of the things I've found is that there is a different aura, like a different essence around people who have that talent. In the things that I've worked on, there have been some people who just they just walk into a room and it just the presence they just command. It's just there. It just oozes out of them almost. It's
it's an
crazy.
absolutely, it's an energy. It's a desire to share something. It's a desire to be alive. It's a desire to feel yourself emotionally. It's a combination of many things.
Are there any of the people who you've worked with who are particularly known for one genre who you think would actually be incredible in a totally different genre? You know,
I
like
Yes, sorry. I think at heart every actor wants to stretch. They want to have range. So if an actor is really good with comedy, like for instance Adam Sandler, he challenged himself, and I like him very much in all the more serious roles, or Jim Carrey. Um, every actor longs to challenge themselves, raise the bar, to you know stretch, as I said.
I think Robin Williams is probably a fantastic example of that.
Great example, yes.
I know you speak more than one language. Does being bilingual or multilingual have any benefit as an actor apart from the obvious ability to speak different languages? I mean, to me, it seems like people who are bilingual process and think things through maybe differently than somebody who isn't.
Well, you can, as I've coached different people, different actors from all over the world, and have traveled internationally with my class, my master class, the Golden Box. I extensively went to Mexico several times, and South America, Lima. Um, I went to, where did I go? I went to Panama. I went to Guatemala. I went Colombia several times, I think 3 times. Um, it's great to be able to teach in Spanish. I've gone to Paris several times. It's great to teach in French. It's great to teach in Italian and Portuguese. It's great, you reach more people. I think as a filmmaker, you want to reach the biggest classroom in the world. And as a teacher, as an acting teacher, you want to do the same. And you want to inspire a young generation, the next generation, to be, the most incredible artists that they can be, to reach their potential, to fulfill their destiny. And that's what the mandate is. That's what the mission is. So, it's been great to speak those languages, absolutely, and to be able to teach in all those languages. Yes.
So you've had this wonderful career teaching and working across show business. So what was the key moment? At what point do you go, okay, you know what? I'm going to start looking for directorial work now. When did that shift happen for you?
Yes, when I worked on a couple of features, a couple of independent movies as an actor, I always say that if you're directing stage, um, you can it's the actor's medium. So the director can, at the last rehearsal before you're about to open, you say, here, the play's yours, take it, it's your play. And so it's theater is not necessarily at that point a director's medium, it's an actor's medium. But when it comes to directing film, the director is the one that gets to sign the painting, pick the size of the canvas, the colors, the textures, how it's going to be interpreted. And so the actor, when it's a wrap on set, it's the actor that can go have postpartum depression, because then it's, the director gets to sign it. And so I realized, oh, well, I would like to be the one to sign it. I want to be the one to tell the story. And so to, that's what drew me to want to direct. It's storytelling. Very, very excited. So I am, I keep being inspired, and I keep, I just signed on to direct a big feature film. I feel that you have to put yourself as an artist always in a place that doesn't quite feel comfortable. It's not comfortable, but that's how you grow. And I like to challenge myself. And I'm happy that at this point in my life, I am able to keep doing things that are more and more difficult. And because I am the mother of two kids, I'm happy to show them that because I think ultimately it's what it's about. You have to live life in a place that feels that, you do things that scare you and you do them anyway. Obviously, not putting yourself, at risk. I showed my kids early on the movie Whiplash. And I said, you have to bleed, but metaphorically.
Well, anybody can play it safe.
Yes. And it's important to be unsafe.
Yeah.
That's right.
Your directorial debut came with How to Go Out on a Date in Queens with Jason Alexander. How did that particular opportunity come about?
So I had done these plays on stage, and I thought, oh, it would be great to see if we could have them intersect. There's never been a movie called How to Go Out on a Date in Queens. I thought it was fun. It was really my equivalent of going to film school. I didn't go to film school. So that was my equivalent. That's how I learned. And I asked these wonderful actors, Ron Perlman and Jason Alexander and Isai Morales and Rob Estes and Alison Eastwood and Kimberly Paisley to be in it. They said yes and just played and had fun. It was just a little fun movie. My equivalent of going to film school.